Bob Riley, High Life Magazine, High Life Media. I'm here with Kanine. They produce CBD for pets. So I'm with Jeff Riman and Lynnette SanMiguel.
Hi.
And I wanted to ask you, tell us a little bit about your company and your culture and what your products that you have.
Sure. So we've been in the pet space for a couple years now. Personally, been in the pet space for several years. My two Great Danes in particular. We started a grooming product for one of my dogs years ago, a couple years back now, going about on 3 years. And it started to really take off, and we wanted some matching products, some products that would go with it. We call it like a de-shedding tool. And with the de-shedding tool, we created an all-natural and organic shampoo, VOF certified, which is the Vermont Organization of Farmers. So very high grade, very organic, very natural, as we know that that's what pet owners now are really requesting. About a year or two of selling our products and selling in about, at that time, about 14 or 15 countries, which was pretty good for us, a small little startup company. We ventured over to Green Roads to get involved with actually a professional football player, friend of mine, who was wanting to get involved with the cannabidiol side, and Green Roads was bringing on more faces for the company and professional athletes. And a few minutes into the conversation, we kind of had an exchange and realized how great cannabidiol was for pets. And
the synergy was just there, and it all of a sudden it grew to one product. Then, you know, of course, now having a little over what, 9
we have about 12 total SKUs, and from that initial meeting and that conversation, and realizing how good cannabidiol was for pets, we had a product packaged in about 2.5 to 3 weeks, and continued to grow our line from there. Like Lynnette says, we have now about 12 SKUs. About 9 of them are in the cannabidiol space. All our products are made to FDA standards, pesticide-free, metals-free, almost non-visual on our lab test THC. On the pet side, super important, like we just talked about in High Life Magazine, which is no THC for dogs. That stigma is something that I think one of the reasons maybe even we're sitting here to talk about is that cannabis is just not good for dogs.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great for, you know, we're here at an event today and you see how many lives it touches, but on the pet side, THC is organ toxic.
Right, it's a dangerous product for them. So we're really here to educate of how CBD, when directed to your pet, you know, whether, again, any mammalian pet, of how important it is to not have any THC product in there, just to be CBD.
How does CBD affect a pet? Explain, like, if you gave your dog CBD, how does it help them? What does it do for them?
Well, I'll give you a great example. When we first started with the CBD product, at the time we had not put it out to market, and I had a 15-year-old Vizsla, which is a Hungarian pointer, very active, large breed, medium to large breed. And we thought, why don't we just give it to her? She's got arthritis. Sure. So we went ahead, gave it to her, and noticed where all of a sudden she wasn't limping anymore. And it, you know, after we started developing some products, we thought, wow, this is amazing. Well, she's now about to turn 17 years old. Wow. She's a 50-pound dog. And I just took videos of her yesterday where she's actually running around, you know.
Hopping around the yard like a little bunny. And subsequently, thousands of those types of testimonials. So as an anti-inflammatory, an anti-anxiety, an antioxidant, a neuroprotectant, and we kind of use language like therapeutically targeting. So for instance, if a dog's over 5 years old, it's technically a senior dog, cannabidiol will therapeutically target arthritis in that dog. Or if a dog's got anxiety in the part of the neurosystem that's hyperactive, cannabidiol can therapeutically target that, relaxing that part of the cerebellum, which causes the anti-anxiety effect.
Right. I see online where it's called like weed for dogs. And from what I understand is it's not really weed.
No, no, not weed at all.
So how you know, what are your thoughts on how it's being marketed to some people compared to what it actually does?
Yeah, well, that's me and you have had the discussion, and that's the problem with this part of the business, because it's not weed for dogs. And so, like, it's a come on. You know, it's a great commercial. It's
very sexy still, and we don't want to be and put out that. We want to be very knowledgeable, very conscientious pet owner.
It's a great way to get clicks, or views. And 2020 does a story, or 60 Minutes does a story, Channel 7 News does a story, and it's weed for dogs and how weed cured my dog, or how cannabis for my pet. But again, the side of it is that studies have come back, a lot of them, showing that the weed side of it, or the THC, is toxic, or liver toxic, organ toxic. But a story like that runs, and then you have thousands of 420 friendly weed, using loving dog owners who think they're doing the right thing. And by blowing, marijuana in their dog's face is not necessarily, it's in fact at all the right thing to do. And now there's statistics coming back where I think they said, I think it's about 2% of death in canine is from cannabis. So those are like pretty THC part. So those are pretty astounding numbers. And then on the other side of it, when we get involved with companies, big organizations like the American Kennel Club, those studies come back where over 40% of all dogs registered show some type of anxiety leading into some kind of arthritis. So the market is really big for a product like cannabidiol, all natural, non-synthetic, all the great stuff that comes with it, but we just don't want to have those dog owners who use marijuana, which is great, to not blow it in a dog's face. I mean, it's not about, hey, don't use marijuana. It's not about that. It's separated for your pet.
And then there's an increase, with studies coming out, where as cancer growth is growing in humans, it's growing just as fast in dogs. So, besides the arthritis and the anxiety, which is still a problem, now you have more severe issues, seizures and cancer, that you have universities coming out and actually making studies based on those more severe ailments, and showing, positive results.
And listen, as a dog owner, I all the time now am getting involved with other dog owners, dog groups, and as to use CBD as a wellness product. So because it's such a good neuroprotectant, because it's such a great antioxidant, what a great way to keep your dog healthy, especially with so many bad dog foods in the market, and people don't really know nutrition for pets. To have something that can be so powerful to help maybe what those things can bring on. The other side of it is the antioxidant and the wellness part of cannabidiol. So it's not just like, hey, we're going to use it for my dog who's 12 and who has arthritis, but how about a 2-year-old dog or a 1-year-old dog puppy who can start on something that's so antioxidant, especially with so many types of tumors and cancers that come out. But I'll tell you, the best part of our day is when a dog owner calls us, and cat owner, a rabbit owner, it doesn't really matter, any single cell animal that has a cannabidiol receptor, but tells us, like I was telling you the story where a lady called just before July 4th, said her dog broke her back getting under her bed, so scared of the fireworks the year before. How quickly can I get the product? I have to try it. And then called us a few days after July 4th to say, wow, my dog hung out. My dog hung out in the patio watching the fireworks. I mean, so these kind of stories, a dog that was 12, 13 years old, couldn't stand up to eat his food, had to be propped up every night, who's now standing up, hasn't jumped in his own bed in months and months, who's now laying in his own bed. Like, these are the kind of things that every day, aside from everything else, it makes it so amazing.